show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
It's Wednesday morning, Wednesday, Feb 13, 2019. How are you this morning? All good? Hope so. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks, the mid-morning talk and phone-in show for Dublin, by Dublin, and about Dublin. I hope everything's good with you today. And let me tell you what we have coming up on the programme. A busy one, actually. In a moment, are you someone who has ever stopped a crime or intervened when the law has been broken? Well, if so, you could be getting an invite from us to a special gig. I'll be talking to Dublin's Lord Mayor in a couple of minutes and explaining all that to you. In a while, we'll be talking about pet owners, and we have a question. Do you miss your pets when you go away on holidays? Some pet owners are admitting that they pine for their dogs or cats while away on holidays and find it difficult to leave them behind. In fact, they miss their pets more than they miss other family members. Really, are you one of those people? I have to put myself in that category. I'll explain more in a while. A little bit later on, yesterday on the programme, there was an unbelievable reaction to our conversation about social housing and how generous we are. And we spoke to that man from Lithuania who was explaining how it annoys him that he worked and saved for 10 years to buy his own little small house, and it annoys him that people are just giving houses for nothing. Well, we mentioned this during that programme yesterday, but we'll come back to it today. Families who turn down social housing twice won't get another offer for 5 years. Now, there's been a huge backlash to this announcement yesterday. A lot of people think proper order. It's about time that we did this. And in fact, we spoke to one lady on the show yesterday from Spain who explained how in Spain, if you turn down a social housing offer, tough, you go back into the lottery draw and you could be there for years. And we're going to be asking whether or not people should have a right to turn down social housing. And you should hear some of the reasons that people have turned down houses. We'll deal with that later on. And if you're somebody who has ever turned down an offer of a social house, I want to talk to you a little bit later on because I want to find out why. Why did you turn it down? All that and much more between now and midday today. If you want to get in contact with us, our phone number, as always, is 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. Same number. If you want to send us a WhatsApp voice message, you send your WhatsApp voice message to 0877 98 98 98. And as you've heard, for people who aren't available to come on the air, we will play your WhatsApp voice message about whatever it is that we're talking about at that time. Now, first off on the programme today, this might mean something to some of you. Yes, indeed. It is the theme from Superman. Well, a particular gentleman who is the first citizen of Dublin City has been named by one of our newspapers today as the Mayor of Steel. Dublin's first citizen chases and corners suspected burglar. So basically, he saw a crime happening, he saw somebody fleeing from the scene, and he intervened. Now, if you're somebody who's ever done anything to try and prevent a crime or to try and apprehend somebody who committed a crime, I would love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. If you have ever intervened in a crime being committed or in somebody fleeing the scene of a crime, call me right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. I am joined by the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Neil Ring. Neil, welcome to 98 FM.
Thanks, Adrian.
So tell me what happened yesterday afternoon.
Well, Adrian, I was just going from one function to another one. I had just been in City Hall and I was getting over to Merrion Square for the St. Patrick's Festival launch. I have to get that a plug, of course. I mean, that's going to be a great week. But we were going down, now I'm not familiar with the streets around the south side, as you can imagine, but we were going down this street, Peter Street. It's near Marsh's Library, and I saw a man pursuing, for want of a better word, a young guy, or youth, and I figured something untoward had happened, and I just asked the driver. I was in the Lord Mayor car, or Batmobile as it's now called, and we drove on down past him with the objective. I hopped out then to intercept him because there was no lanes off the road, and so he had to come down that way. So I just waited there, and I could see that he was literally running out of steam as he was being pursued, and another guy came out of an apartment, and literally the three of us at the same time. He just decided the game was up here. He stopped, and we were all not on top of him physically, but like had him surrounded. So
and what had he done? He'd robbed something, had he?
Well, we're not quite sure, but it seemed that he had been burgled an apartment up off the street somewhere there, and was caught in the act by, I think the chap was out of Marsh's Library. The other two lads who pursued him, I'm just trying to find out who they are, so they might ring into the show. I just want to bring them into the Mansion House because they showed great civic responsibility and, you know, a good civic duty by pursuing him as well. So, and
if somebody can lead by example, our Lord Mayor jump out of the Lord Mayor's car to nab this guy as well.
Well, I mean, it was instinctive, Adrian. You know, when you come from the north inner city, you just sort of do. When you see something happening like that, your instinct is to just jump out of the car and do what's right and try and stop it if it's a criminal activity. You know.
Okay, now between yourself and the other two guys, you managed to pin this guy down until the guards arrived.
And in fairness, and I have to give great tribute to the guards, they were on the scene within about 20 seconds. So, I mean, there was there's certainly no danger to us like that. He wasn't armed or anything, but in fairness, and they were brilliant and they just came along. So we just sort of drifted off, and I never thought about getting the other lads' names. As I said, I was going I'd be over in Merrion Square at 12 o'clock. It was about 5 to 12, and we just went off, and then I think someone in Marsh's Library, I think the chap may work in Marsh's Library because they put up a Twitter, and then it sort of just got momentum from that. You know, we weren't none of the three of us was out for any, you know, hero worship or whatever, and.
Although I have to say, today's Mirror has a photograph of you in a Superman costume, which is quite amusing. Does the Lord Mayor have any superpowers of arrest?
Well, I'm just checking the legislation on that. I know the free men at the city can graze their sheep, but whether the mayor has, I'm sure years ago he probably had, but. You know, what I was also thinking, if I had the chain on, which I hadn't at the time, sure, maybe that could be my super chain. I just lasso people and it immobilises them or something like that. There could be that in it. I'll have to check that out now, you know. You
mentioned about the other two guys doing their civic duty in chasing this guy down. And in fact, I want to encourage people to call us now on 6797 981 if you have ever intervened to stop a crime or to catch a suspect or whatever. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98, or you can call us on 6797 981. Because Neil, you were saying that these guys showed their civic duty. Is it our duty, do you think, if we can apprehend somebody like that?
Well, I wouldn't encourage everybody, you know, because there are dangerous situations. But this, to me, just looked like, luckily enough, I'm tall and I'm reasonably fit, as were the other two guys. So, I mean, and the young lad wasn't 6'6" or anything like that. So it was, you know, so in a different situation, you might have, certainly if you had a weapon or anything, you would have left it up to the guards. But it was more or less instinct. But you're asking people to ring in, and what I'd love to do, maybe, Adrian, through the show there with people ringing in, like people who've done things like this, maybe I'll just have some little function in the Mansion House for them and just bring together sort of local heroes or whatever. I know we have people doing community work and volunteer work, which I bring into the Mansion House regularly. But maybe if there's a little cohort of people there who've unsung heroes, done things like apprehending or doing, as we say, their civic duty, we might get a list and we'll maybe meet up in the Mansion House and swap stories or whatever.
What a great idea. Well, we'll definitely take you up on that offer. As I said, our phone number is 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98 with your stories of how you tried to intervene in a crime. Neil, I have to say, I'd be getting onto the Mirror and I'd be asking them for a copy of your Superman photograph, because you really look the part.
Oh, very good. I hope it's flattering.
It is. You're built like a brick shithouse, as they say. So there you go. All right, Deputy Neil Ring, Lord Mayor of Dublin, thanks very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM.
Adrian.
And well done, by the way.
Thanks a lot, Adrian.
All right, and I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. Have you ever done anything like that? Have you ever intervened or chased somebody or basically done, as the Lord Mayor said, your civic duty? Call me right now on 6797 981. As you heard yesterday afternoon, the Lord Mayor in the Lord Mayor's car going from one function to another, got his driver to pull in, and he jumped out of the car and he nabbed a fella who was running away after what we believe was he was robbing an apartment or whatever. Have you ever done anything like that? Let me know on 6797 981. John, you're on 98 FM. How are you, John?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thanks, John. John, you're Superman as well.
Well, I wouldn't say that now.
What have you done?
I stopped a fella. I ran after him after he was throwing stones and bottles at windows in an estate, the house estate.
And did you catch him? Did you apprehend him?
I did. I caught one of them. There was about 7 of them in it. I caught one of them.
Right.
And I had to wait for the guards. I had to wait about 45 minutes for the guard.
Really? What did you do for that 45 minutes? Did you sit on him?
No, I just held him by his coat.
And for that 45 minutes, that must have been an awkward time. Like, did you have conversation with him?
No, he said, let me go. And I said, I'm not letting you go. I'm waiting for the guard, and that was the end of the story. Okay,
and the guards eventually arrived after 45 minutes. And did they take him off? Did they arrest him?
They told me that they were taking him down to the station and going to interview him, and then bring him back home.
And, right, so you don't know if that actually happened or not?
I don't know, because about 2 weeks later, I had the same incident. Now, I didn't catch it at that time, but I don't know whether he was brought home or not.
You see, I often wonder, the Lord Mayor said it's your civic duty and all of that to try and intervene or try and capture somebody or whatever. But I often wonder, is it worth it? Is it you were on your own and you to hold this fella for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
And then for what? Yeah. For him to be taken down to the Garda station and to get a slap on the hand?
Probably, yeah. I don't know, and I never heard any feedback from the Garda afterwards, like to say that he's not going to do it again. Like I said, about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, same incident happened again, and I didn't catch them, unfortunately, that time. But
and was it the same bunch of lads?
I presume so. Now they got that far away from me that I didn't see, but I presume that they would have been. Yeah.
All right, stay there for 1 second, John. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. And if you've just tuned in, we are looking for superheroes. Well, okay, not superheroes, really. We're looking for somebody who bothered their arse to do something when they saw a crime being committed or whatever. Did you apprehend somebody? Did you chase them? Did you prevent them committing a crime? The Lord Mayor of Dublin yesterday jumped out of his Lord Mayor's car and stopped a guy who was running away after burgling a house or an apartment or whatever in the Dublin 8 area. And, fair play to him. Now, he wasn't alone. There was 2 others chasing the same fella, but the Lord Mayor jumped out of his car and he apprehended the fella as well. And fair play to him. Now, he didn't come on this programme looking for praise. I just wanted him to tell the story of what happened. But it raises the whole issue of things that you may have done that, were your civic duty. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. Now, Lavi, you actually tried to help, but your pleas for help were ignored.
Hi, yeah.
So what happened? You're in a store. We won't name the store because...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so you're in a store, and what did you witness?
So I was in the store, right, shopping, and then I see those lads, like, stealing the TVs. They would just put them in the trolley and then went out with it. Did that once, it worked. Second time, so I went up to the security and I'm like, can you see those guys are stealing those TVs? They were like, big TVs, come on. And the guy looked at me rudely and said, like, so what do you want me to do? Go home. So I got scared a little. I mean, if you talk to the security, probably it was involved.
Okay, so you witnessed somebody robbing a television. You tell security, and security basically tell you to mind your own business.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, so what do I do now? Like, do I walk up to a manager? Do I start being and then, get killed after? Or
so you just went on your way?
Yeah, I just had to because, like, the guy was pretty big. So
you suspect that the security guard might have been involved in some way then?
I do because, I mean, if somebody steals from your shop and you're the security guy, first thing you do, you're like, do something about it. Who are those guys? Because, like, it was obvious. It was obvious that they took already 2 trolleys, and even by their faces, you could tell that they're stealing and you're running away with it. Because the door was beeping, and then they were just pretending that nothing happened now. Go move away, it's fine. Nothing happened. So, but they also had the funny thing is that they also had like those big expensive cheese, like rolls, that you buy.
Yes.
The big cheese. So they also bought that, and they put that in their jacket. So that's how I knew that they're stealing, because you don't put that in your jacket, inside of your jacket, if you want to buy that.
Right, okay. And a telly. But the security guard had no interest whatsoever?
No.
So would it make you mind your own business in future?
Oh, well, no, probably if I think about it now, I would just walk up to a manager. But, they look pretty scared. So I was like looking at the cameras, and I just did the sign, so can you see this? And then I went on.
Right. Well, fair play to you, Lavi, for bothering, because most people would just turn a blind eye. Peter, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Peter?
How are you doing?
We're talking about things you have done to help others or to intervene if a crime is being committed. Tell me what you did.
Well, there was 3 lads. I'd say they were in around their 20s or that, and they were trying to rob bags off 2 young lads. Or one young lad. There was 3 of them and only 1 of him.
Okay.
They were runners and all, the Nike runners, Adidas. And all
right,
that.
so these lads are trying to rob a bag with brand new runners in it off a young fella.
Yeah.
And what did you do?
Well, I knew they weren't going to listen, so the first thing I did, anyway, I went up because they were hitting the young lad, trying to take the bag off him. I didn't shout or anything, and the first thing I did, the lad that had his bag to me, I just nailed him between the legs with a kick. And then the 2 other lads turned around, and of course, you were dead, and one lad pulled the blade.
Oh, really?
Of course. Yeah, and now I'm 6'2", I'm 17 stone. I played rugby football, but I did martial arts for 11 years and boxing for 6.
Oh, right, so you were well able for them.
Yeah, so I got the knife off your man. First thing I did was come in, grabbed him underneath the arm, kicked him on the knee, and then with the other one, nailed him between the legs. The other lad ran off. I got the blade, broke it, threw it in, brought the 2 lads down onto Connaught Street and that, and I said it's all right, and they were ringing their man and all that. So I said, look, stay there at the shop. It used to be grand, don't worry about it, or told the security, one of the security lads, so he said look after. But I was on the bus going home, and we were stopped at lights. I was on the bus.
Right.
People were, this is the person behind me, tapping me on the shoulder and said,
"Yay!
Are them people looking for you?" And I said, "What people?" I said, "People down there, they're shouting." I said, there was the mother with the 2 young lads, and she's saying, and the 2 boys gave me, your man gave me the thumbs up, and the mother was saying with her hands clasped, saying, "Is that him?" "Yeah." And I just gave him the thumbs back. "Are you okay?" And the mother was hand clasped together and saying, "Thanks very much."
Wow. Okay, you truly are Superman. That's a great story, Stephen. Fair play to you. Peter, fair play to you, and thanks very much indeed for your call.
Okay, no problem.
6797 981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. What have you ever done to help others? Now, we're often told don't intervene because, I mean, you heard Peter's story there, a knife was pulled, but he was well able for them. Have you ever done anything like that? Let me play this WhatsApp message from Peter.
I was walking out of a pub one night and a man was beating up a woman and I intervened on that. And it ended up that when I grabbed the man, the girl ended up stabbing me 3 times in the leg because it was her boyfriend.
Ooh. Right, you see, that's kind of highlights how it may not be worth it. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us 0877 98 98 98. And as you've just heard, you can send us a WhatsApp voice message to 0877 98 98 98.
98 FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. New store now open at Belgard Road, Tala.
98 FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy until midday today. Well, I'm Adrian Kennedy all the time, but the show's here till midday today. We're talking about people who bother their arse to intervene, who try and help when they see a crime being committed. Here's a lady who's a real superhero. This is Trisha.
I was 8 months pregnant and I was walking home from work on Nassau Street and I saw somebody coming up behind somebody and putting their hand into their bum bag. It was turned around to the back. So I sort of, adrenaline kicked in and I tapped the culprit on the shoulder and said, "I'm watching you." And with that, he legged it. And then I just said to the person, I said, "Watch your bum bag." I said, "You were just being pickpocketed."
There you go. 8 months pregnant. Fair play to her. Mary is in Blanche. You're on 98 FM. Mary, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Now, we heard a while ago about how one lady in one particular supermarket told security that there were lads robbing a telly and the security guard had no interest whatsoever. But
Right.
You saw something similar.
Yes, I was in a store in Dublin and a young coloured lad was putting all the underwear into a bag and I tipped off one lad that was on the desk and he ran downstairs to the security and they caught it on camera. We were put out of the shop and they pulled down the shutters.
Wow. Okay, so because you bothered to even say it, security did manage to catch the culprit.
Yes, he was locked inside the shop.
And what store was that? We can name it because they actually did something.
Michael Guiney.
Oh, and Guiney's. Oh, very good. Right. So so what was he actually after robbing?
All underwear.
All underwear. And shoved them all in his coat or whatever, but you
Oh, no, he had a bag.
Oh, he had a bag.
He came prepared.
Now, just as a complete, by the way, is Guiney still busy?
They are. They are.
Yeah, great old store it is. Really is.
Yes, it's a lovely store.
All right, very good. Well done, Mary.
Thank you.
She's a superhero as well. Stephen is in Clontarf. Stephen, tell me about what your dad did.
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Morning, Stephen. How are you? Grand, thanks.
My mum had just given birth to my little brother. Only a couple of days, so it was my first time going in. We were being brought in, all excited. Walking up by a set of flats just off Pier Street, and a man went sprinting by us, just in a taxi out into the flats. The guards were shortly after. My dad stopped him and basically told him which flat he'd gone into, and the guards said, "Look, don't hang around, he had a gun." So thinking back, it probably wasn't the most cleverest thing to do.
No, not if you had a gun. No, certainly not.
No, thinking back now, but...
And like you heard that message I played a while ago, the guy who got stabbed 3 times for intervening when he saw a fella beating a girl or whatever. There is a kind of a fine line between whether you should or whether you shouldn't intervene, isn't there?
Yeah, well, look, not knowing what he had, I'm sure if my dad had known what he had, he would have said nothing and just kept walking, get out there as quick as possible.
All right, well, fair play to your dad anyway. And was he apprehended? Did they catch him?
Yeah, they went in after him, yeah.
Brilliant. All right, fair play. And finally, Dave, tell me what happened at the Abbey Street Lewis stop.
Hey, Adrian. I was at the Abbey Street Lewis stop a couple of years ago. I don't think it's anything as fancy as the old lady catching your man in Guiney's now. But a guy took a girl's phone and he took off down the road, and I just threw down my bag and decided to chase him, and I suppose halfway through I was kind of hoping that he wouldn't turn around, But
did you catch him?
Yeah. Caught him in the end, and he threw the phone up. So, yeah, he threw the phone up and onto the ground, and I picked it up and gave it back to the girl. And
fair play to you.
Again, in hindsight, I probably should have gotten her number. It would have been perfect because she was pretty good looking as well. You get nothing for nothing in this life, isn't that what they say? Well, no, fair play to you, Dave, because most people will just keep walking if they see something like that happening. They really will. You'd no idea what you were taking on there. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Now, as I was chasing him, I was very much aware. I was kind of hoping that, like Abbey Street, he could have had a syringe or anything like that, But like that, sometimes you just, the body acts and you don't really think, All right, well, look, fair play to you. That's, I think that's a very decent thing of you to do. And was she grateful? I think she was more in shock. But I mean, Lewis was coming as well, so I had to jump on that. But I should have gotten her number. When was this, Dave? Oh, it was a couple of years ago. Oh, right. So she's moved on. That's what I'm about to say. She's probably married with kids and all now. So exactly. You missed your chance. All right, well done, Dave. Fair play to you. Thanks very much indeed. All right, thank you very much indeed for all of your stories. Some great stories there. And like I said, there is a fine line between intervening and risking your own life and limb. Although, so you heard from that pregnant woman, the adrenaline kicks in sometimes. Anyway, thanks for all your calls.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98.
Last week on the show, we exclusively announced the news that a house in Dublin was being offered to rent at half its market price to give a couple a chance to save up for a mortgage. Now, the generous, unnamed landlord, and she didn't want to be named because she wasn't doing it for glory, she was doing it to help somebody and still isn't being named, but she was prepared to rent a house in Ongar for as little as €800 a month. However, there was a small condition. The owner of the two-bedroom terraced home wants to help a young couple who are trapped in the rental market trying to save for a mortgage. And if you were listening to the show last week, you'll know that we spoke to auctioneer from Howley Sowan Real Estate, David Sowan, and he joins me on the line now. David, welcome back to the programme. How did the search for a suitable tenant go?
Very. We've got a phenomenal response to the show, to be honest, to a point where we couldn't really go through all the applications. But we were lucky enough to, first viewing there on Saturday, we chose probably about between 6 and 10 of the candidates, and we chose one. And he came in yesterday to the office to sign those leases, and he is moving in today.
And his name is Daniel. And Daniel, welcome to 98 FM, Daniel.
Hey, Adrian, how are you?
Firstly, congratulations on getting a gaff to live in at such a decent market rent. Daniel, what was your situation and how is it that you qualified for this?
Well, what happened with me is late last year, I decided with my girlfriend that we kind of start saving for a mortgage. And the original plan was that we kind of just, stay at home so we do that. But obviously, saving up that sort of money is, very difficult to do. And then I was commuting to work. So kind of the last month, really, I was going from Navan. So I said, I try and move closer to Dublin. And it was really the last month I was looking up prices. And, you get somewhere decent for 2 years. It could be 15, 16, and even 2,000 in some cases. And for a couple as well, it's a lot of money when you're working. And I was doing a commute, so there's a lot of tolls and diesel you'd be spending money on. So what happened last week was my girlfriend actually sent me a screenshot. I seen it on Facebook of the 98 FM advertisement, and I just clicked into it. And I said to her, I found out how to apply, and I applied. And I said to her, I said, don't get too excited. I said, it's literally like doing a lottery. I said, you go in and you probably won a million chance. And then I went to the viewing on Saturday morning, and the house was lovely, and had a look around, and I was really happy with it. But I didn't want to get too excited because I just knew there was so many applications. And then yesterday, Breda rang me in the office. I couldn't believe that we'd actually got picked out with so many people. I was kind of just sitting there and wondering how it actually happened. And then the next thing, I was up in the office signing the lease and sorting everything out.
Excellent.
So really, I couldn't actually believe that, a landlord would be so kind-hearted and actually, realise, that it is very difficult for a couple to save in a mortgage, and also they want their independence to move out together and stuff. And like, I couldn't actually believe someone would actually, do that for some.
So tell me, Daniel, what difference this will make for you in terms of your ability, yourself and your partner's ability to get enough money to get your own place.
Well, I suppose, like, you'd be able to put away a good couple of hundred a month. Like, I'm cutting out, 2 toll bridges, the one on the M3 in Navan, the M50. I'm cutting out a lot more diesel. We have 2 cars, so the 2 of us can even carpool in together. Just the expenditure will go right down, and there'll be a good opportunity to put away a good bit of money towards a deposit. It's a lot more convenient as well, being the 2 of us are based working in Terranura, so it's only literally 20 kilometres from our job, which is very handy. The commute for me to Navan, I'm getting up very early in the mornings. You get home late in the evenings with the traffic, and that's all. It really just cuts a lot of that out, and it's a lot less stressful as such as well.
That is amazing. So you would hope that by paying, and this is at the insistence of this landlord, which I think she's marvellous for doing it, a rent that's half the market rent will enable you to save money to get a place of your own.
Yeah, 100%. And you want to, you can do it at home, but even with a big commute, it is fairly difficult to do. But as you're living relatively close to work, you have the rent that's half the price. It's very reasonable for you to do, and you can actually make yourself a realistic plan, because you wouldn't want to rush into buying an apartment or something. I want to actually wait till I have the right deposit saved to get a house that I'll actually like and want to live in and be happy with. So it gives you time to manoeuvre around and have your finances in order, and then go to apply and go into your own house. So it's
It really will help. Well, let me just go back to David for a second. David, it sounds like Daniel and his partner are the exact sort of people you were looking for.
Absolutely, yeah. And his paperwork and everything else was spot on. His employment references was excellent. He's there a good long time. Exactly what the client was looking for, and so we ticked all our boxes. And
is she aware now that you've found somebody?
She is, yeah. She's delighted, and she'll drop in next week once they settle, just to introduce herself, and there you go.
Well, as I said to you last week, David, I pass again our regards on to that landlord. I know she doesn't want to be named, and I understand why. She's not looking for glory. She just wants to help somebody, and I think it's a very decent thing of her to have done. And as you said yourself, from the reaction that you got to our interview last week on the programme, and Daniel having seen it on our Facebook page, the reaction was overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we just we need to apologise to everybody that we couldn't get back to, but I mean, we did carry out that viewing on Saturday, and Daniel just one of many that was suitable for the house.
All right, yeah, we can't have everybody. Daniel, you're moving in this weekend, is that right?
Yeah, I'm actually getting the keys today, and I'll be doing I'm moving in a lot of my stuff later on. I'll be doing it over the next day or so I should be settling over kind of the next 2 or 3 days, and definitely the weekend, and have everything in order then, and kind of start saving and go on the right track then from kind of next Monday on.
That's fantastic. So, that is absolutely fantastic, and I wish you the very, very best in your new home, and hopefully it sets you on the way to getting your own home in the next couple of years. Well done, Daniel. Thanks very much indeed. And Dave, sorry, go on.
I just want to actually say, Adrian, as well, thanks to Breda and David in the estate agents as well, because when I went in, they were so helpful, and there was done and dusted very quickly, and they're very generous. And also the landlord for giving us the opportunity. It's kind of like, a lifeline in this day and age in the market that you're competing in. And then also you guys, we wouldn't have actually seen it if it wasn't on your Facebook page. So big thanks to you as well.
All right, but that's fantastic. Glad we could help. And I'm delighted you got your own gaff to move into this weekend. And David, thank you very much indeed. And again, as I said, pass our kind regards on to that landlord. And it's a very decent thing of her to do. And maybe there would be more landlords who might think about doing the same. I mean, if you're not in it for the money, if you just want to pay your mortgage, maybe you can afford to rent the house out or apartment out a little bit cheaper to help somebody on their way. David Sohn, thank you very much indeed for joining us as well.
Thank you.
The best of luck to all of them. That's a really, really fantastic story. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. I want to go to John next about something completely different. John, you want to warn motorists of a very bad crash. Where is it?
Adrian, good morning. It's on Charlemont Bridge. It's a 40-foot truck and a cyclist.
Oh, no.
And it's not good. The bicycle is right under the truck.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
The emergency services are on scene, but the whole area is blocked. nothing is getting past the bridge at all.
Right, okay.
So if anyone's coming down the South Canal, get off before you come down near Charlemont Street.
Okay, so anybody who's around that area, be advised that traffic is insane, but this is an accident involving a 40-foot truck and a cyclist. Wow, that's really sad. I hope that person is okay. That is dreadful. So this is along the Grand Canal. Avoid the bridge at Charlemont there.
It's at the barge pub there.
At the barge, yes. Okay, so avoid that area if at all possible. If you're heading either direction along the canal, turn off and go up through Ranelagh or go up through Rathmines or whatever to try and avoid it. All right, John, thank you very much indeed for sharing that with us. And like I said, our thoughts are with that poor cyclist, and hopefully he or she is okay. It's 98 FM's Dublin Talks. We're back in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. New store now open at Belgard Road, Tala.
98 FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, next on the programme, something that we never discussed before, yet most of you listening are pet owners. Well, an awful lot of you listening are pet owners. Not everybody, but a lot of you are. And you love your pet, just like I do with our two dogs, love them to bits. You treat your cat or your dog like a member of the family, and you miss them when you're away. If you're one of these pet lovers, we've a few questions for you. Okay, when you go away on holidays, do you miss your pet terribly? When you're away, do you regularly ring the kennel or the family member who's minding your dog or your cat to check how they're getting on? Are you a pet lover who actually won't go away for, say, a 2-week holiday because you don't want to be away from your pet for too long? If you're that soldier, I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. There's a reason I'm asking these questions. A report out today by Aldi shows that 96% of pet owners regard their pet as a member of the family. Okay? And it gets better. More than 50% of people said that they would find it harder to leave their dog or cat for a week than their family or their partner, because they can keep in touch with their partner or their family on the phone and they'd miss their pet too much. Are you one of those pet owners who does miss them when you're away on holidays? And how do you cope with being away from your pet? I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. And for Natalie, who sent us a message there a couple of minutes ago, Natalie, answer your phone. The lads are trying to ring you. She says, I am a canine carer. That's my full-time job. When people go on holiday, they have the option to text me, FaceTime, and also check Facebook, where I post updates of their dogs on holidays with me. So they say it really helps them. Fantastic, Natalie. And in fact, the man Sean, who minds our dogs when we're away on holidays, he does the exact same thing, which is really fantastic. He sends us photographs of the dogs out walking and blah, blah, blah. So you know that they're fit and healthy. I know last year when we were away on our honeymoon in Australia, we were in Sydney for the fireworks on New Year's Eve, and Sean sent us a photograph of our dog Molly looking at the fireworks in Sydney on the telly, which was deadly. It really was. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797 981. Are you somebody who misses your pets dreadfully when you go on holidays, more than you would a family member? Now, we're lucky because we found somebody very decent who minds our dogs when we're away, and we know they're safe. We know they're well looked after. They're not in a kennel. They're in Sean's house, and we're very happy with Molly and Sparky being minded. But you do kind of miss them, and as somebody said, yeah, we get a photograph and all that, but you can't talk to them. If I'm away even from my missus, I can ring her and talk to her. You can't with the dogs. So if you're somebody, because apparently more than 50% of people said they would find it harder to leave their dog or cat for a week than their family member than their family or their partner, because they can keep in touch with their family on the phone, but they miss their pet too much because you just don't get to see them the same. It's not the same. Call me right now on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. You can send us a WhatsApp voice message to that same number, 0877 98 98 98. And maybe you're somebody who just point blank refuses to go on a holiday because you've nobody to mind the dogs. Some say having pets is actually more difficult for you to go on a holiday than it is having kids. Martina, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Martina.
Hiya.
Now, Martina, you hate leaving your dogs.
Oh, my God, yes.
How many have you got? Oh, you have 4?
4 dogs, yeah.
Oh, right, that's a big family.
Yeah, 4 huskies.
Oh, 4 huskies, so they're not even little doggies, they're big.
No, they're big.
And do you go away?
Yes, but last year was our last family holiday away because my husband is refusing to leave them.
Oh, right, so that's it then?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Weekends away or the dogs come with us.
Oh, so no more holidays in Spain or anything for a week or two? It's gone now?
Now, yeah, planning on getting a camper van.
And travelling around Ireland with the 4 huskies?
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, it's mad, yeah. They're better looked after than we are, the kids are.
And could you not have gotten somewhere for them to be minded?
Oh, yeah, we've got great boarding kennels, but not anymore. They just, no, it's not worth it.
What, because it's so expensive?
No, it's worth it. We pay for the top money for them, but it just, we miss them terrible, and then we come back and they are all stressed out and the routine is up, gone different, so no.
Well, I have to say, when we go on holidays and when we come home, Sparky, who's our eldest dog, he is like a spoiled brat when we come home. He won't talk to us for the whole week. He's in a huff for the whole week.
Oh, yeah, like a mood. That's it.
Yeah.
They literally turn against us for the week, even though they're spoiled rotten.
Yeah.
Our dogs are really, really spoiled rotten. We've got 2 huskies from Dublin Huskies Rescues, and the other 2 but they are just like amazing dogs. But when we leave them, they treat us like they make us pay for it.
Wow. Okay, so, and like I said, Sparky does the exact same thing. He is in a huff for the whole week after we get back, and you can tell he's in a completely different mood. It's bizarre, but anyway. Okay, so no more holidays for you. You're getting a camper van to travel the country.
Hopefully, yes, that's the plan.
That's hilarious. All right, brilliant, Martina. Thanks very much indeed. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice message to 0877 98 98 98. Lauren, tell me about your mammy.
She's going to kill me.
No, go on.
My mother, she won't leave the dog at all for more than a couple of hours. She brings the dog to work with her.
She brings her dog to work with her?
Yeah, well, she brings him, has him in the car, or she'll bring him in or whatever, but she won't leave her anywhere, But her bosses are American, and their daughter was getting married in San Francisco, and they offered to bring her over first class for 3 weeks to San Francisco, all paid. No, I'm not. I wouldn't trust any with my dog. No, wouldn't go.
Now, what sort of a dog is it?
A Jack Russell.
A little squeaky Jack Russell.
She'll chase you down for that.
Oh, right. But hang on, she turned down a 3-week, all expenses paid holiday to San Francisco because of her squeaky Jack Russell.
Yeah, and these people keep ringing her and asking her to come, and she keeps saying no.
Oh, sorry, this hasn't actually happened yet.
Oh, no, the wedding's over, yeah. But
Oh.
They keep asking her, they keep wanting her to come over. And
So she has an offer to go to San Francisco, all expenses paid, for a holiday. Now, I'd love to go to San Francisco. I've never been there. And she won't because of the dog.
She said, we won't look after the dog the way she does. And the same with weddings. She'll organise weddings. And, okay, I can go for a couple of hours and then I have to leave. She won't. Everything works.
God, I'm sure she wasn't like that when you were a child.
She went away, no problem, when we were small. She had no problem leaving us when we were small.
That's hilarious. That is. By the way, whoever it is who's offering that trip to San Francisco, I'll take it. If they're,
I take it too,
yeah. All right, that's a brilliant story, Lauren. Thanks very much indeed.
No bother.
Call me right now on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. If you run a dog kennel, are my dogs safe with you? I know they're safe with Sean, the man that looks after our dogs. But you do kind of miss them. You do. Now, he's great and he sends us pictures and all of that, which I love to get. But it's not, you can't talk to them. Even if you ring on FaceTime, they don't react. Tina, you're on 98 FM. Tina's in Donamead. How are you, Tina?
How are you, Adrian?
Now,
yeah.
You got a dog in October.
Oh, sweet Lord help me. Yeah, I did.
And go on, tell me about your little dog.
Yeah, we got Eddie in October.
Oh, Eddie. Eddie, yeah.
Eddie, yeah.
Okay.
I had to remind my grandkids and that, and they're all in school now, so I decided I'll get a dog, get out walking, lose a bit of weight. But I can't leave the dog at all in the house. It's frantic. When I even get up to put on my coat, it gets, all nervous. And
what sort of a dog is Eddie?
It's a rescue dog. It's they said it's a Kerry Blue Cross. Now, it looks more like a poodle.
Right.
But no, I love the dog. Absolutely love the dog. I hate going out leaving it because it cries like a human. I bought it a kennel to see if it'd stay out the back. No, it wasn't having any of that. It wants to be at my side all the time, sits beside me on the couch, sleeps in the bed. My husband throws it out of the bed, but when he gets up, the dog is in the bed. It's attached to me side constantly. And I apologise now. I got a present of a weekend away at Christmas, and I don't know what I'm going to do because I can't leave this dog at all. And I'm conscious when I'm out at the shop. The thing is howling. I mean, crying like a banshee.
Now they do say, and they do warn. I know all the animal charities. They do warn that a dog is not just for Christmas; it's for life, and not a truer words do they speak, because you are taking on as big a responsibility as having kids.
Know. Oh, it's bigger.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I love this animal. There's no way she's not going anywhere. But
that's your holiday days over.
Well, what can I do?
And have you nobody that would mind Eddie?
Well, I don't. I mean, I'm actually babysitting now at the minute as we speak. My daughter had to go out to a funeral, and I had to leave Eddie. At home because they wouldn't have her. But
Eddie's at home losing his shit, is he?
Absolutely, losing the plot. And when I go, I jumped up on the table.
So if I were to give you a free holiday to Spain, you wouldn't be able to take me up on the offer?
I'd have to bring the dog.
It's not that easy, yeah.
No, it's not that. I never realised. I mean,
what you were taking on?
No, I didn't. I really didn't.
But you love him to bits. That's the main thing.
I love him to bits. But
good to talk to you, Tina. Thanks very much indeed. On the way after the break, I'm going to talk to you, Joanna, and this is a story about your bunny.
Yes, it is.
Okay, stay there for a second. Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98 FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And Trish is here with Wednesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. People spent almost 250 hours stuck in their cars in the city last year. A new report from INRIX shows the capital is one of the worst cities in the world for traffic congestion. It also shows drivers travelled at an average speed of only 9.6 kilometres per hour at peak times. Women are waiting as long as 27 weeks to get the results of cervical smear tests. The HSE has told an Oireachtas committee there's a backlog of almost 80,000 smears in the system. Last year, an extra 90,000 tests were taken in the wake of the cervical check scandal and the decision to allow free retests. A Ballyfermot councillor says the government's housing policy is failing. Fianna Fáil's Dahida Rushta says despite a 2-year crisis, the figure shows a drop of just over 1,000 people on the housing list. And 1 in 5 Irish people were left in debt in January because of overspending at Christmas. According to new research from One for All, 44% of people find January the most difficult month of the year financially. And now you're up to date on 98.
Thanks very much indeed, Trish. We got a message here and let me read this to you. I have a Jack Russell and I hate having to leave her. I get upset when I leave her. But it's more, I know she'll be upset and will miss me. I won't go on a holiday every year because it's not fair on her. I miss her when I go to work, and as soon as I get back home in the evening, she bites my fingers for a few minutes to give out to me for leaving her. And then she monopolises the couch next to me for the rest of the evening. The last holiday I went on, I was gone for a month. And I got phone calls that she wouldn't eat for the first 2 days, and then she would only eat a small amount and moped around the house for the 4 weeks. So I won't be doing that again. So there's another dog owner who is not having any more holidays. Joanna, tell me about your bunny.
Well, basically, my bunny rabbit sadly is gone, passed away over a year ago. So I am still heartbroken. Like, I can't even talk about it without, I don't mean tear in my eyes. But I basically never had a bunny rabbit. So when I got him, I didn't know what to do with him really. So I trained him like a dog. So he became like a half dog, half bunny. He slept with me on a blanket on a bed. He has a little ramp so he can jump easily on my bed. So he was the loopy ear one. So even looking at him was really sad because he looked sad because of his ears.
And, okay, so I've never had a bunny myself. Are they good pets, by the way?
They're very good pets. I basically trained him so he was going back to his hutch to have a poo or number one. Really where people think that bunny rabbits are just stupid and you just have to keep them in a garden or in a hutch, because that's what they think, that's what they do. Children, really great idea, to be honest.
Okay, so the bunny rabbit, what was his name?
Well, I call him Bobek, but Bobek in my language means bunny poo.
And, okay, so even going to work was difficult, and for the whole time that you had your bunny, you didn't have a holiday?
No, I didn't. I went home for literally a couple of days, so I literally begged my friends to move into my place just to sleep with him in one bed because I wouldn't go, and every day I was freaking out. He was the best pet I ever had, so keep missing, yeah.
And would you get another one?
No. You see, the bunny rabbits live really short, so even taking a pet home, you still keep thinking he's going to die in a couple of years' time and you're going to be heartbroken again. So
okay, so you just can't deal with the heartbreak anymore?
No, it's just too hard to have a pet because they love you unconditionally, not like a human. So it's just too hard to lose any of the pets when you have them. You make me cry.
Stay there for a second because Barbara, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Barbara?
Are you?
Barbara, you run a kennel and a cattery down in Wexford.
Yes, we do, in Ferns.
In where?
Ferns.
Oh, in Ferns and County Wexford. Very good. Actually, our dogs go to Wexford as well for their holidays. But anyway, yeah, absolutely. So, Barbara, you have some advice for people who have pets like this.
Well, with pets that are very attached to their owners, it's important that they are socialised.
Yes.
We do a lot of socialisation here with dogs that come into the kennels. We mix them and let them play with other dogs of their own temperament. We've had a high success rate.
So it's important, and I know this to be true. We know with our dog, our first dog, he was very antisocial. He's still not great, but once we brought another dog into the house, he had no choice but to start getting on with her. She's here to stay, so he had to give way a little bit. So it is important that they learn to socialise.
Oh, very important, absolutely, and a little bit of time and guidance. It will be a success. Okay,
so in terms of, you're not just talking about socialising with other animals, but socialising with other people.
With other people as well.
Yeah, because that lady who sent me a message a while ago about the dog would mope around for the whole 4 weeks that she was away. A dog needs to be taught not to be doing that.
Yes, you have to teach the dog.
Yeah.
And get them used to their new environment.
And how do you look after the dogs? Are they in kennels or...
they would have their own individual kennel and play area, and then we have larger play yards where we would take the dogs out and mix them socially and play with them and let them play with one another and have a bit of fun.
All right. Oh, very good. All right. Thanks very much indeed, Barbara. And let me just bring in one last call, and that's Vanessa. You're on 98 FM. Vanessa, you can't even go to the shops, never mind a holiday.
No, not even the shop.
So what sort of a dog have you got?
I have 3 dogs and 2 cats. One is a pug. The other one is a mix between a pug and a Jack Russell, so it's a jug.
I've got one of them. I've got a jug.
And a miniature Yorkshire, little Yorkie.
Now, like I said, they tell us that the commitment you're taking on when you take on a dog or dogs is a commitment for life, and it really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
People don't realise how much commitment it actually takes. So no more holidays for you.
No, I wouldn't mind a holiday, but that was actually my only ever holiday I got to go on when I did have pets. But now, even going to the shop for bread and milk or something, I dread it. Like, I worry non-stop if they're crying, if they're eating, or like just like that girl said. Even when I go to the shops, even my ma texts me, "Oh, they're moping, they're wondering where you are," and then she sends me a video of them crying or, scraping the door or something like that.
Oh, God love you. God love you. Now, we have the exact same thing, I have to be honest, but not quite that bad. But, yeah, you're taking on a lifelong commitment. Fair play, Vanessa. Thanks very much indeed for your call, and thank you for all of your calls. I think it's important. We could actually talk about that for the whole day with the volume of calls coming in. But what I will say to you is there are many, many brilliant kennels the length and breadth of the country, and not just kennels. Some people, like the guy who minds our dogs, he is down in Wexford. We do drop the dogs down to Wexford when we're going on holidays, but himself and his wife, they look after the dogs in their own home, and they're really well looked after. I'm delighted with the way they're looked after. They seem very happy when they get there if we're going away. So what I would say is, yes, I know it's difficult to leave them, but you still need a holiday if you want to have a holiday and get away from them for a while and let them have a little break. It's like when you were a kid going off to your granny's. You loved it. Anyway, thank you for your calls. This is 98 FM.
98 FM.
Dublin Talks.
Now, next on the programme, yesterday it was announced that families who refuse an offer for social housing on 2 different occasions will not be given another offer for at least 5 years. Now, the news has been met with very mixed reaction. TD Joan Collins tweeted last night. She claims that families are not turning down housing offers for ridiculous reasons. And she joins me on the line. Joan, you took to Twitter about this yesterday. You don't believe anybody turns down houses for frivolous reasons.
Well, actually, what I said is that nobody I've ever met has done so for frivolous reasons, and I think in the main people would be of that opinion, and I think it's mainly a deflection from Owen Murphy, who is incapable of actually dealing with the housing crisis.
Okay, but why should somebody be allowed to turn down a social house more than twice, bearing in mind how extraordinarily long our housing lists are?
Well, for different reasons. My experience is that the 2 most common reasons is for personal family safety, and then also
meaning what? What does that even mean?
It can mean a lot of things in working class communities and in communities all across the city. There could be feuds, there could be people concerned about antisocial behaviour, drugs in an area, big burden families, all that type of thing. And then the other one is generally for having close links to family networks, that they're caring for children or adults or whatever. They're the 2 main reasons we would come across why someone would feel they couldn't accept an offer on a house.
Okay, now, as I said, yesterday it was announced that if you turn down 2 different offers of social housing, you won't get a third offer for at least 5 years. A lot of people think that's very reasonable.
I don't think so, to
Why not?
be quite honest. 5 years is a long, long time, and then it's not even counted as you've been on the list. You're going to be sitting there in a limbo for 5 years. Already there's there for 1 year, which is bad enough if you refuse twice. But I think 5 years is much too long. And to be honest, it's not going to resolve the issue of the housing crisis. Owen Murphy has put this forward as one of a number of housing policies proposed by the Minister. This is not a housing policy. A housing policy is how we build houses, how we get new stock into our housing mix, acquisition homes for people at 70,000 on the housing list, 10,000 in emergency accommodation, children, women, men. It's not going to solve that problem at all. This is only a deflection. It's like when Leo Varadkar came out before he stood for being leader of the Fine Gael party, calling welfare cheats us all, and it was turned out that was absolutely a deflection as well from what was really happening.
Okay, we had a conversation yesterday on this programme about social housing, and we heard, for example, in Spain, if you turn down an offer of a social house, you only get one chance, and then you get thrown back into kind of a lottery system. The point being that if you are fortunate enough to have made your way to the top of the housing list and you get offered somewhere to live, you should accept it.
Most people on the housing list now are on the housing list nearly 10 years, so they don't take it lightly when they're being made an offer for a house or an apartment or whatever, or a housing unit. They don't take that lightly, and it's genuinely, in the majority of cases, the majority I'd say, it's for a genuine reason for people when they consider taking that house, what those, as the point I made earlier on, for personal safety, family safety, being close to childcare, adult care, all that type of thing. That they're the reasons why, and they're genuine reasons. And
there's no denying that some people do have genuine reasons. And I know you did say that you haven't ever met somebody who's turned down a house for frivolous reasons, but you know yourself, Joan, that there have been many reported ridiculously frivolous reasons for people turning down houses. I remember one, I get seasick, and somebody being offered a house beside the coast.
Well, I tried to look that up because I heard that being said, and I tried to find out was there any sort of report on that. There hasn't been, so I can't verify or anything in relation to that.
Okay, there was another one of somebody turning down a house because the back garden wasn't big enough for the trampoline.
Again, I tried to source that, but I couldn't. There's been other cases where families have refused it on the basis that the house was too far away from the schools, having children who have special needs that are in a particular area. One Galway family, we checked it up because someone was saying that this family just frivolously refused it, where her special needs child was in a different part of the city, a good distance away, and for her to drop her children off in the morning, it'd be nearly a 100-mile drive to drop her kids off in the morning. So in general, there's always one or two. You can always pinpoint one or two people that may have turned down housing in relation to as I say, frivolous attitude, but they're so tiny. For the minister to make this an issue and say you push back for 5 years, that's just...
Do you believe that people have a right to continually turn down offers of housing for various reasons? Surely there has to be a cut-off point.
Already there's the moment if you turn down 2 offers, you're pushed back for a year. So there's already something there in relation to people turning down housing. So why extend it to 5 years? This is a way of just pointing the finger, deflecting the issue of the housing crisis. This is not going to change an iota of anybody getting...
No, but a lot of people believe that it will at least... if somebody is turning down offers, there are other people who will happily accept those offers.
Well, they will. They'd be offered to whoever's next to that person gets the offer. So it does go to somebody else. But all you're doing here is putting somebody in limbo for 5 years for a refusal of twice, and for genuine reasons. That I think that's over the top. And it's just, again, we're discussing on radio now, and it's all over the media, social media, and we're not talking about why haven't we had housing, social housing, local authority housing being built at the level it should be built, and that this minister has said should be built and has targets and continuously does not meet those targets. That's what we should be talking about.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, John, because I want to play a WhatsApp voice message that's just come into me this second for you to have a listen to.
Not accepting a house because it's not near your friends and family is not a reason to not take the house. I'm a family of 6. There's 6 children in our house. There's 3 up in Dublin and 3 in Wicklow. And the 3 in Wicklow would love to be up beside us because that's where we grew up. but they can't afford to because they couldn't afford a house up around here. So why are you just giving houses out because they don't want to live near their friends and family? People who have to buy mortgages have to move out of Dublin.
Okay, Joan, what do you say to that? And that's a theme that's coming in quite frequently here.
Well, I could understand where that person's coming from. I've known people who've had to buy houses in Leitrim before the crash to actually get a house that they could afford, a mortgage they could afford. That's wrong. That's wrong. And what's happening is in parts of Dublin, which would have had a huge tradition of working class, of community and all that, the nature of those communities are changing because people can't afford to buy into their own communities. They are being forced down to Wicklow and other places. And I think that's wrong. But
isn't that just life? Isn't that just life? We live in the capital city in the country.
Why say that in saying that is wrong? I don't think people should be forced out of their communities to live somewhere and be beside their families. But that doesn't make what Owen Murphy's proposing right. If you know what I mean. Wrong doesn't make it right.
Okay, but you did cite it as one reason why people might turn down an offer of a social house because of the family support and structures that they have in place, and they'd be too far away from that. What that lady clearly says is that's not a good enough reason.
Well, I disagree with her.
All right. Well, look, Deputy Joan Collins from People Before Profit. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Independence for Change.
Independence for Change. Sorry, my apologies. Joan, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
You.
All right. Lauren, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Lauren?
Hiya.
What did you want to say on this, Lauren?
Well, I think throwing everybody under the same brush and saying, if you turn down a house for reasons of want because the family or schools it's really bad because, like, my situation is if I was offered a house in, say, an area that was overrun with antisocial behaviour or things like that, I would definitely turn it down for safety of my kids.
Right, so, you see, I can understand somebody refusing to accept an offer because of antisocial behaviour or drug dealing.
I'm not talking just a little bit of antisocial behaviour. Like, I live in Clondalkin, so, it's everywhere down here. But I don't know whether you remember the video of the joyriding going on in the state. I think it might have been like Finglas or something like that, and it was crazy. Like, I have a son with special needs. He'd never survive in a house that was surrounded by that.
So you would have to turn it down?
I'd have to, and again, I'd have to turn it down on the basis of school as well, and not just because, my kids love their school and they don't leave away from their friends. My son goes to a special needs school, and as you know, to get your child into a special needs school these days it's like trying to find gold dust. It's unbelievable. So I would have to turn it down.
What is your feeling then on this new ruling which says if you turn down 2 offers of social housing, you will not get another offer for 5 years?
It's absolute shite. It's crazy. Because if they offered me a house, say, in an absolute rundown area that was overrun with drugs, and I turned it down, and then a couple of months later they offered me another house that was in the bogarts of nowhere that I couldn't get to my son's school, again, I'd have to turn it down, but not because of stupid reasons, but because my son has to go to school.
But Lauren, a lot of people will argue that, and I hate the expression, but I'll use it anyhow, beggars can't be choosers. And if you're being offered a house that is subsidised by the state, it's not an ideal world, but you have to accept it and move your child to a different school.
But you think about what I just said there. It's not about just moving the average child into another school. I would have no problem putting my daughter into any school. No problem whatsoever. Kids are they can adjust. But when you have a child with special needs, like I said, I think you were talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago whose kids aren't even in school because they can't find somewhere to put their special needs kids because they're like gold dust. I have my son in a special needs school. So if someone were to move me somewhere where I couldn't put him into school, what am I supposed to do there?
All right, do me a favour, Lauren. Stay on the line there for 1 second if you can, please. 6797981 is our telephone number. This is a kind of a follow-on to a conversation that we had on the programme yesterday. And in fact, from yesterday's programme, I want to just play this little extract. This is a lady who was on the show yesterday, and she was talking about what happens when you are on the housing list in Spain, where she's from. What is the situation in Spain with regard to social housing?
We're pretty much similar to Lithuania. You'll go into a waiting list and then you're in a draw. You're not in a list. You're in a draw. So you could be in a draw for like 50 years of your life and your name might not come out. And then you can't choose where you're going to live. They give you a property and you take it or you don't take it. So you can't choose, I want to say, I want to live in Madrid or I want to live in Bilbao. Or no, they give you a place and that's where you have to go.
Now, there you go, Lauren. That's what happens in Spain. You get an offer, you take it or you leave it.
Oh, that's crazy, that is. I'd speechless to that.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. Our telephone number is 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice message to 0877 98 98 98.
98 FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. New store now open at Belgard Road, Tala.
98 FM.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're here till midday today. Here's a lady who is not happy at all.
I'm sorry, but if you're offered in a house that's not in the same area as your school, that's tough. We all have to travel to schools. That is just life. Plus, they're only in the school for X amount of years and then they move on to another school. What happens if that school isn't beside their new school, their further education school? So they want to move again. We don't all have that luxury. And yes, if they are offered houses in Boggerland, people do live in Boggerland quite happily. And those people aren't having to deal with antisocial behaviour, which is another issue why they won't take houses, because it's in an area of antisocial behaviour. So where would they like to live? Would they like to cherry pick where they'd like to live? Because I know where I'd like to live. I'd like to live in Ballsbridge, where it's a nice affluent area. I don't have that luxury. So no, I'm sorry. If you're offered a house, you need to take it. If you don't take it, then yes, you go to the back of the list. That's the way it works.
Okay, there you go. That's the way it works. There's a lady who's not happy. Tony, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Tony?
How are you?
Good, thanks, Tony. What did you want to say on this?
Well, I am actually a housing officer, but I can't tell you what council I work for.
That's okay.
I totally agree with that caller that just called in there.
Well, beggars can't be choosers, basically.
Correct.
And, I mean, I was reading through some of the reasons why people have turned down houses, right? And here are some of the reasons. The house is too far from the applicant's family. The house wasn't close enough to schools and facilities. The house simply wasn't in their preferred area. One applicant turned down a housing offer because of seasickness, because the house was too close to the coast. Another turned down a house because of the dust which had accumulated in it after the builders finished building it. And another turned down a house because the garden wasn't big enough, couldn't fit a trampoline. Now, it is kind of laughable, but this, you've obviously come...
I could tell you stories that would make your hair curl.
Well, go on, give me one.
This particular girl come up to me and crying that she was homeless. All right?
Yep.
And she come up to me every day of the week for 6 months. So I'm out having a cigarette, and you know what she pulled up in?
Go on.
Go on, when you hear this one. A two-door Mercedes worth about 70 grand.
Oh, God.
I looked at her, she looked at me, and I've never seen her again.
Really?
That's the God's honest truth. And you know the way they say there's 10,000 people homeless?
Yes.
It's a myth.
Why is it a myth?
Because most of them are actually living with their families. They just register as homeless.
Yes, no, I know that is an issue. It's definitely not
the issue.
It's not the case with all 10,000 now. There are an awful lot of people who are genuinely homeless, but I do agree with you. We have spoken of examples of people who've turned down, who have declared as homeless just to get bumped up the housing list.
Yeah, but that's all at the changing now. Homeless is not priority anymore.
In terms of people turning down houses, this suggestion from Owen Murphy that you won't get another offer for 5 years, you think that's reasonable, do you?
without a shadow of a doubt.
And what about somebody who's been offered, and I'm not going to name any places, but we all know fairly dodgy areas in Dublin. What about somebody who's being offered a place to live in one of the very severely antisocial estates in Dublin? Why should I possibly want to take somewhere in a kip of an estate with joyriding and drug dealing and everything else going on, and I'm trying to raise my kids? Why should I take that?
I totally agree with you on that one. I think you should try to facilitate people where the family is. But sometimes it's not possible. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I'm talking about, is it not a reasonable request? The main reason that people turn down offers is that the house is in a neighbourhood which has problems with drugs and antisocial behaviour.
Yeah, but I mean, I think some people want, like, they'd love a house on Ball's Bridge, they'd love what the other caller says. That's not going to happen.
No, of course it's not.
It's not going to happen. And some people actually would turn down lovely offers in a nice area, and it's not needing up where my family is.
Yes, they have, I know, and that's actually the second reason on the list. The second most common reason is that the house is too far from the applicant's family.
Everybody drives today, for Christ's sake.
All right,
you know what I mean? I'm not being smart.
No, I know.
I mean, when I was a kid, we didn't drive, we just walked. I got a bus.
All right, stay there for a second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Maureen is in Rathfarnham. You're on 98 FM, Maureen. Tell me about the conversation on the Lewis.
Well, I had an experience yesterday morning. I have never been on the Lewis yesterday, but I have to go into town, so I decided to get the Lewis. And I met this young girl with a baby. And the baby was about 7 months old, and we began to talk. And she said to me, unfortunately, I said to her, good morning. And she said, hi, how are you? And she said, do you know where Smithfield is? And I said, I'm not too sure, but I said, I'm sure signs will be on the line. So we'll both look. So we looked anyhow, and we began to talk. She'd been living in a hostel that night with her young baby, and she was going to see a relieving officer up in James's, and they had offered her a 2-bedroom apartment in Rialto, but she wasn't going to take it because she said she'd threaten. And I said, what was the reason? Why would you threaten? She said, my family lives in Blanchardstown.
Good God.
Isn't that fantastic?
So she was offered a 2-bed place in Rialto.
Yes, she was.
Which is a lovely part of Dublin. I wouldn't mind living in Rialto myself. And
I would have took it. I would have took it if I had been desperate enough. If I had brought my child into a hostel that night, right? And she said to me, the hostel was filthy. There was crumbs and all in the bed. Now, if she felt that badly about looking after her child, why did she not jump and take that 2-bedroom apartment?
So, what was her reason for turning down the one in Rialto?
Because she would have threatened, Ger. Listen, you threaten when you're away from your family.
She would have been fretting.
Yes.
That was her reason.
That was her reason. Yes, that was her reason. Now, this girl was about 27, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't 16. She wasn't 16.
She'd be fretting without her family.
She'd be fretting. I tell you, fretting. Isn't that absolutely pathetic?
And so hang on. She was offered a place in Rialto.
A 2-bedroom apartment in Rialto. Yeah.
Now, I'm just looking on my Google Maps here, right? And Rialto from Blanchardstown is a whopping 10 whole kilometres. 10 whole kilometres.
Do you know what? She doesn't drive. She doesn't drive either. You know, that's sad. That's very sad. They want to live next door to their mums, their dads, their uncles, their aunts, so they can be sitting in their houses all day, drinking coffee, looking after their children, go out and gallivant. Oh, we never had that chance. We were made. When I met my partner now, my husband, we ended up having to work very hard. I had 2 jobs, and I got the beautiful house that I wanted in North Farnham. I worked very hard. I used to go out on dates with my husband, and I used to walk from Clonskey all the way down and buy a pack of biscuits and share them, so I could save our money to get a mortgage. That's what we done.
Okay, so this story yesterday of a woman turning down a 2-bed place in Rialto because she'd be fretting.
Yes, because she'd be fretting.
That is unbelievable. That is shocking.
Nice. What a great excuse. What an excuse! And I think
was as a matter of interest, was there any shame in her saying it to you? Did it?
No, there wasn't. No, absolutely not. Absolutely no shame whatsoever. And I really mean it. I think the council's right. Offer them two places, 2 offers, and if they don't take it, back on the list. Give somebody else a chance. There's so many homeless people out there, and I have to say, they're crying out for houses. I deal with the homeless people with my brother Dermot and Kids Zone and Tala all through the year, and I know what it's like for people to be living in bed and breakfast and, and everything like that. Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
No, you're Dermot Richardson's sister.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, very good.
It's not just not because of Dermot, but I mean, as a family, we've got all involved now. I mean, it's my 5th Christmas feeding the homeless, and I have to say, I've met some fantastic people. They're the nicest, closest people that you could ever wish to meet. Absolutely.
Now, Maureen, spare a thought for the poor girl. She'd be fretting, God love her.
No, but listen, she'd be fretting, I tell you. I had to move from Clonskeagh up to Rathfarnham, and you know where Rathfarnham is, going back 37 years ago.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
I tell you this much, and this anybody that knows me, I am telling the truth. I went to see the show house, and my mother looked at us and she said to me, "Oh God," she said, "I'll never come and visit you more. You're too far out." And that's honest to God. That's what my mother said to me when I bought this house.
Obviously, that's how that woman yesterday felt. All right, well, so Maureen, you think this is more than reasonable that if you turn down 2 offers of a social house, you don't get another offer for 5 years?
No, 5 years. Back on the list. Start from scratch now. Absolutely. You've got 2 offers, and back down the list, give somebody else a chance. Absolutely. They're crying out for houses in this world. They're crying out for bed and breakfast. They're crying out for help. No, I am very, very annoyed with this person. Very annoyed.
All right, good to talk to you, Maureen. Thanks very much indeed. Okay. 6797 981 is our telephone number. If you're somebody who has ever turned down a house, a social house, why did you? That's what I want to find out. Is it because you'd be fretting? Because you'd be 10 kilometres away from your mammy? Call me right now on 6797 981. Christy, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Christy?
Howdy.
Good, Christy. Now, you believe that some people have genuine reasons to refuse offers?
Absolutely. All this stuff is news management on behalf of Mr. Murphy. And, you know, the guilty consciences of people who are really making a lot of money from the housing shortage. For instance, I've an interest on a house on the south side on the Lewis. Right? Now, I heard about this scheme. A girl in an auctioneer's, she tracks the price of your house and she reports back to you for 250 quid on the actual sales of houses in your estate. And do you know how much the interest in the house I have is going up per week? For me, without scratching myself, 980 bucks a week. Plus, I can get 250 euros a week tax-free for letting 1 room in the house because of the falsely constructed political housing shortage. Now, that's the other end of the scale to all those apocryphal guff that we've heard from your other callers. This is a politically constructed housing shortage.
Well, Christy, okay, look, the fact is we do have a housing shortage no matter who is responsible, no matter how it came to be. We do have a housing shortage. And it is for that reason that people get very annoyed when they hear of somebody being offered a roof over their head and they turn it down. Now, can you understand why people get annoyed by that?
Absolutely. But that's 14 cases out of 52,000 families in Dublin alone on the house waiting list.
Hang on, last year 402 families turned down housing offers to Dublin City Council alone. That's only 1 out of 30-odd councils in the country.
Well, you know, 52,000, well, even with 400, well, if you can do long division, 400 into 52,000, that's about 0.1% of cases. And, you know, highlighting them in the Dennis O'Brien controlled media.
Here, Christy. Stop that now. No, Christy. If you think that man is standing outside the door pulling my chain, you're wrong. And I'm not even going to have this conversation if you're going to throw stupid stuff like that around. Okay?
Not yourself.
Fine. Now,
okay, sorry about that.
We'll either have a civil conversation or we won't. Now, I have to tell you that a lot of people contacting this programme are very annoyed for people turning down houses for a reason like that one we heard just a moment ago. I'd be fretting if I was living 10 kilometres away from my mother. Now, seriously.
Listen, do you really believe that a single mother with one dependent was offered a 2-bedroom apartment in Rialto? Are you for real?
Oh, so is that woman making that story up?
Of course she is. That's a load of guff. She met somebody on the loose. That's a load of rubbish. Listen here, fella. When I tell you, middle-class people have a terrible conscience about the housing crisis. We've 1 million people working. They're earning less than 26,000 a year. The price of a house in relation to their salary, it's impossible to buy on the private market.
Correct.
You know, we're not building with all the money being wasted. Look at the award there to the nurses. They're all middle-class people, consultants, teachers. We have a divided society. The people on 26,000...
Sorry, Christy, what is the point you're trying to make with regard to the conversation that we're having, which is about people turning down social housing for, in some cases, ridiculous reasons?
Yeah, but it's been completely exaggerated to ease the conscience of people who know exactly what the problem is. It's the price of housing and low wages, and not building social housing, pouring it into hotel owners, etc. That's the problem. It's housing policy. It's Fine Gael housing policy, and it's been going on for the last 10 years.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, because Maureen, that man a moment ago said you're telling lies about that incident on the Lewis yesterday and the offer that this woman received.
Hi, good morning, Christy. Nice to hear you on the radio. Just my comment, and my truthful comment is the truth. I met this young lady on the Lewis. She didn't know where she was going. She was going to Smithfield, and then we said we'd look on the signs to make sure I knew where she was getting off. She actually told me that she had accommodation in town, and the accommodation that she had the night before was full of crumbs, and she was offered a 2-bedroom apartment in Rialto. And she couldn't take it because, you know why? She was going to threaten from her family. And they were the exact words. I'm not known for making up stories now, to be quite honest.
Now, there you go, Christy.
Well, Mr. Murphy and Fine Gael are well known for manipulating facts. The problem in the country is we have to...
No, Christy. I'm not letting you get away from the statement you made a couple of minutes ago, is that woman was telling lies. She didn't make up the story. That's the story.
Well, I apologise for I'm sure she wasn't telling fibs, but there are a lot of apocryphal stories out there.
Right, okay. No, you're annoying me now. We're back in a second.
98 FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. New store now open at Belgard Road, Tala.
98 FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. We're in the middle of a conversation about something that was announced yesterday, and that was that families who refuse an offer for social housing on 2 different occasions will not be given another offer for at least 5 years. Now, people like TD Joan Collins said on people turning down offers of housing, the 2 most common reasons I've come across are personal family safety and closeness to family networks, usually related to caring. Nobody I've ever met has done so for frivolous reasons. That's what Joan Collins said. And then Anthony Flynn from Inner City Helping Homeless said, families who turn down 2 offers of social housing face a 5-year wait. This needs to be changed in a very aggressive manner. Many reasons as to why refusals take place, inclusive of antisocial behaviour within areas. Vicky, I played your WhatsApp voice message a while ago and you were a little bit angry. You've sent us another one. You're even angrier.
Hiya.
Yes, I have a 2-bedroom townhouse which I rent with the council, which I think, by the way, is a fantastic idea. I don't see why anybody wouldn't rent a house with the council. However, I had a tenant, a girl, they wanted the house because it was beside the school.
Okay.
She moved into the house heavily pregnant, and I had to go down in a couple of weeks just to check on her. Couldn't get into the house. I rang the council. They said, put a note through the door. I done that, went back down. I could still see my note, so she still hadn't been there, obviously. Went back down. The council told me I had to get the guards down to open the door, even though it was my house. Went to the guards. They said nothing to do with them. So I went back down. I opened the door. She had left the house. She had stolen some of my appliances, including my Hoover. She'd left the house in an absolute mess. I had neighbours knock in and tell me that her boyfriend was a drug dealer and that the guards had been down several times and they had left her in the night.
Fantastic.
So my house was destroyed.
So you're not giving me a great example of renting to the council.
It's the one occasion that I've had problems. Other than that, I've never had an issue. Never. Okay. And your money's always paid on time. I have no issue with it whatsoever. My point is, this girl got this house based on the location she wanted. The school was at her back door for her son. She obviously didn't mention she had a boyfriend. Perhaps she wouldn't have gotten the house. But she moved in heavily pregnant. She was given exactly what she wanted. Bunk beds in one of the rooms, brand new. Everything she wanted, she got. I provided it. And she absolutely destroyed my home.
That is unbelievable. And let me ask you then, Vicky, what is your opinion on people, on this announcement yesterday that if you turn down the offer of a social house on 2 occasions, tough, you're going to have to wait at least 5 years?
Well, my opinion is I'm not from Dublin. I'm from down the country. I would love to live down the country. I choose to live here because my husband works here. We bought a house, probably not exactly where we want it, but it's what we can afford. So it's called tough. You can't have everything that you want in life. This is life. What is the point in moving beside a school? The child is obviously going to progress and move to a different school and hopefully a different college. Are you going to move every single time this happens? It doesn't work like that. If you get offered a house, I understand if it's in a really, really poor area. I get that. But I'm sorry.
Not even a really, really poor area, but a really, really desperate area with antisocial behaviour and drug dealing and all of that. You have to understand why somebody might turn that down.
100%. There's always exceptions to the rule. It's like the case of where the child has a special need and they have to go to a school further away. I totally get that. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But what I do have issue with is if they're just saying it's because, I don't like the area, it's not beside this, it's not beside that. That's really not my problem.
All right,
you can't cherry pick. It's just not the way it works. You just can't cherry pick.
Well, up until now, it has been the way it works.
Which is why it is the state that it's in.
Yes, okay, but so you think this is more than reasonable that if you turn down 2 offers, you won't get another one for 5 years?
Absolutely, but there are exceptions to every rule, so every case should be treated differently. But yes, it should go like that unless there is an exception to the rule.
The girl who wrecked that house should be taken off the housing list and barred for life from social housing, says a message.
But she won't be because she needs to have social housing, so where's she going to go?
Otherwise she
can't be barred for life.
Yeah,
exactly, she's going to be living in a hotel and trying to get back out of it again. So where is she supposed to go?
All right,
back on the list.
Stay there for a second, Vicky. Amy, you are 11 years on the housing list.
I am, Adrian.
And never got as much as one offer, let alone several.
No, I'm 11 years on the housing list. I'm renting the one apartment over 10 years. It's full of damp. I have an asthmatic child. I put in for priority with Dublin City Council. 3 times I'm at to being denied. And there's houses boarded up in the area, which I put my name forward for, and I was told that they haven't got the money to fix them up. That's what I was told. And the reason, the likes of that girl, you were told by Alto, you're given a form off Dublin City Council, you get to pick your areas. She probably picked around Blanchardstown, Clonee, stuff like that, Mahubbard and wherever. But like that, they're picking an area that no one else wants, and they're giving her it, but it's not her area. So at the end of the day, that woman doesn't want that area. She picked her area, so that's why she doesn't want it. I'm from the city centre. I picked in the city centre, so I'm 47 on the house list. I have 47 people in front of me. Like, I
Now,
know
okay, you
people
say
that
you've picked the city centre.
Yeah, you get 3 areas to pick, like Dublin City Council, it's area A, B, C, D, like that. You pick your 3 areas, and like that, I have never been offered, not one house have I been offered over 11 years.
And would you accept any offer that you got?
Yeah, well, if it was in the areas that I picked, yeah, I would.
So many, you've A, B, C and D, so 4 different areas.
Like, say, North Inner City, then it could be East Wall, Fairview, like that. I picked my 3 areas when I applied for 11 years.
Okay, would you take one in a different area?
Well, it all depends where it is, like, because I don't travel, and like that, I have a lot of family in town.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of family the other side of the city.
It's only a bus journey like that as well, but it all depends where it is. Like, I have to think about that. I've a father, and he's not well, and I do go down to him all the time. But I'd like in my area. But I've like that. There's 12 houses boarded up in my area at the moment, and I applied for every single one of them. And I was told that they don't have the money to fix them up. That's what I was told.
Now, Vicky, you've heard she's 4 different areas she put down that she'd like, and she'd have to think about it if it was a different area.
No, I'm sorry. I have a family member who's sick who lives 60 miles away.
Hold on, Dublin City Council give you a choice. So at the end of the day, they're your choices. They're putting you in an area that you don't even want. So why is it your choice?
Well, I don't particularly want to live where I'm living, but I live here because it's close to my work. That's the only reason that I live here. I don't particularly want to live here.
Do you understand? Like, Dublin City Council give you the choice.
Yeah, and clearly you haven't gotten your choice in 11 years. So it's time to maybe widen it out a little bit.
Yeah, but 11 years, that's 11 years of going to Dublin City Council and they keep telling me, you'll be waiting, you'll be waiting. That's what I'm being told. I'm getting evicted now in May. I'm going to be on the streets with 2 kids.
But you don't have to do that if you widen your choice. But areas outside of Dublin that are bus journeys.
But nowhere around Dublin City is taking HAP or rent allowance anymore.
Yes, they are. They absolutely are. I know for a fact they are.
I'm applying for loads of them and nowhere is taking them.
Trust me, they're taking HAP. They're absolutely taking... No, they're not. They're taking HAP.
But not in where I am. In the area I am.
Widen your area out a little bit. Like, not everything is in Dublin city centre. Widen it out to the suburbs a little bit more.
That's where I'm from.
So, yeah, but hang on for 1 second, Amy. I'm from Ballybrack. I live the far side of the city. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I'm from 60 miles away. I'd like to live there too.
I got a message from somebody a couple of minutes ago. I couldn't afford to live in Dublin. I'm living 10,000 kilometres away.
There you go.
Yeah, but Dublin City Council give you the choice. That's what I'm saying to you. They're giving you choices. So at the end of the day, we got our choice.
But you did say, Amy, that you would. You did say you'd have to think about it if you got an offer in another area.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it.
Surely after 11 years,
well,
you'd jump on it.
Say I pick me areas as Dublin City Council all around town, right? I pick me areas, and then they offer me one out in Darndale. That's not my area that I picked. I'm not from there.
God love you.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm not from where I live either.
Okay, so Amy, if you were offered a place in Coolock, would you take it?
Probably would, yeah.
You probably
would. It's only
would,
a bus journey, but what can you do?
All right, okay. One last call. Mary, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I was just ringing in relation to renting property through the council. My daughter had a house a good few years ago now, well, probably about 10 years, I'd say, not even less. And she put it up for rent with the council through the emergency housing. And a family moved in and anyway, the heel of the hunt is the family moved out during the night without anybody knowing. Just left the place, it was like as if they left in a hurry. And the unfortunate thing was they had the babysitter who had the key to the house, was having parties in the house. There were gangs of young lads, everything in the house. We knew nothing about this until the neighbour next door eventually rang my daughter to tell her what was going on. So when we got out to the house, it was in a dreadful state. It was absolutely in a dreadful state. She actually never moved into it again. She sold it. She was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken.
That is unbelievable, and that just shows the disrespect that some people have. Amy, I just want to put one very quick question to you before we go, and it says, how entitled does that woman sound? City centre, the most expensive area in the entire country, and she wants a social house. Workers can't afford to live there, so why should she be allowed to live there?
That's my choice. That's what I'm saying. The Dublin City Council give you the choice.
All right. On that note, Amy, thank you very much indeed for your call. And thank you all of you for your calls. I have to leave it at that. We're way out of time. We're back with you again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. By the way, tomorrow on the programme, we will have our Valentine's winners. We'll be announcing we'll be contacting the winners this afternoon, but we have something special lined up for tomorrow morning. Make sure you don't miss the programme. Have a great Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Barry Dunn is on the way. In the next hour, he's got some great music lined up, like these.
I've been feeling it since 1966. 98 FM's
Dublin Talks
with Des Kelly Interiors. New store now open at Belgard Road, Tala.
98 FM.